Okay, so we've got the last laugh with cheese sandwich. Oh, this is so cool. Okay, so Pinky and Cheese. You guys remember, like, this is like Weird Al Yankovic, and he was in like the dance-off, right? And so he's come back, and the episode starts off with Pinky. And Pinky is really, she's kind of struggling. She's having a challenge. She doesn't really understand what her purpose is in life. Because she looks at her friends, she looks at Twilight, she's ruling the entire freaking world. She looks at Rarity, she's got stores across the world. She looks Rainbow Dash, and she's a Wonderful. You know, that's the highest thing that you could ever have. She looks at Fluttershy, she has this giant zoo thing all over the place. And her friends are just absolutely crushing it. I mean, they're doing amazing, 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 amazing things. And she thinks about her own life. And she says, you know, what is the point of where I'm at? You know, I'm not like Albert. I don't have like this huge farm that I'm going to transfer down to my kids. Like, what am I doing to have a big impact? Because in reality, like, there's the bakery, but all she does is work at the bakery. She doesn't even own the bakery. The cake's on the bakery, right? So, like, what's like my thing is she's asking herself this question. It's a very, very existential, personal question. Like, what is her purpose? What is her foundational point of being in reality? And she seriously questions, like, basically everything she's done. She's like, what in the world am I supposed to do at this point in my life when, you know, everyone knows, like, this is basically like the end of the show? And she's like, well, what am I going to do? And so she sits back, she thinks. Then she gets this note in the mail from Cheese Sandwich. His Cheese Sandwich opened up a freaking giant factory in the middle of nowhere to produce, like, jokes. He's got, like, this huge joke factory, which is just, like, so cool. Because apparently, like, he'd been going around, and he had been, like, throwing giant parties all over the place after, you know, the encounter with Pinkie Pie and the whole dance-off, the goof-off thing. And he had just been making everybody so happy. I mean, everyone just loved the work he was doing and his comedy, and it was amazing. And so he was thinking the same question, you know, how can he scale? How can he grow? How can he have a bigger impact? And so what he did is he took what was here, and he said, you know what, I think I can make this into something bigger by opening up this factory, right? So he gets like a ton, he does what we literally just said to do. He gets a bunch of people to work in his factory so that they can, you know, make a bunch of joke toys. And then he has people in research, he has people in manufacturing, people in development, mostly it's manufacturing. And he hires this manager guy to, like, kind of manage everybody, right? And then this manager guy kind of reports to him, and he just chills out in his office and has a giant party every day. At least that's the goal, right? That's the idea. So you got Cheese Sandwich here, and this manager guy's helping him out. And he opens up this factory to produce, like, gifs and gags and just laughing things. And that was sort of the foundation and the basis of this episode. And he sends Pinky this letter and says, hey, Pinky, you know, do you want to come over to my giant factory, my lab, my joke factory? And she's like, of course I want to come over here. This could help me find my purpose. This could help me find my reason for being. And so that's sort of the background, and that's how we get to this point here. And then what happens is really interesting. So Pinky comes into the factory, and from the outside, the factory looks like super desolate. Like, it's like there's guards here, and they're like, what are you doing here? You can't come to this factory. And then she walks through she's like, hey, I got this invitation, I got this letter, you know, let me see what's up, what's going on. And so they open up the gate for her, and she walks, like, to the factory, and it's in this, like, big, barren, empty field in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by these massive walls. It's basically like this prison camp. It's really, really, really desolate, and just full of despair. I mean, it's awful. She walks in and everyone's like dead. She doesn't know what's going on because this is supposed to be, you know, a joke factory. It's supposed to be like a happy place. You know, everyone's supposed to be pumped up. And she's looking at these workers and they're like going on assembly lines, creating like whoopee cushions or gag gifts or squirting stuff. And they're just like assembling. They have no energy, no motivation, no passion, nothing. All this work that had been going on to make people happy, to these guys, it was making them like just dead. It was crazy. And then there's also like this lab, and in this lab, they're like testing out like new jokes and stuff that's supposed to be funny. And they're testing it out on this manager guy and trying to make him laugh, and he like never laughs, which is like his thing is that he like never laughs. And they're trying to test out all these new things, and like nothing's working, nothing's funny, nothing's cool. And like Pinky's like, what in the world is going on? And so she comes up to the manager guy. She's like, hey, what's up? And he's like, hey, this is what's going on. We have no production. Nobody's laughing. We are having terrible sales. And we're basically like just a really bad situation. A challenge. Is a tough challenge. And so she's like, well, what's going on with Cheese, right? So he goes up to Cheese sandwich. He goes to his office, right? And he's like, Pinky, Cheese, hey, what's up? And he finds Cheese sitting there. And you kind of see it on his face in this picture. He is just so sad, so distraught. He has a frown on his face. And he says, Pinky, I cannot laugh. He says he cannot smile, which is the worst thing in the whole world, right? Like, if you can't, like, smiling is so huge, so powerful, so massive, and yet he can't. It's just awful, right? And so she's like, well, what's going on? He says, he's lost his laugh, he's lost his smile, he's lost all joy in his life. He started working in this factory. And he's trying to do this to make other people laugh, and other people smile, and other people have a great time. But for him, he's crushing his entire life. And he has no clue what the heck to do. He has no control over what's going on. He can't make any good products. He just has no success whatsoever. And he's totally internally distraught. Because in reality, like, everything that you need comes from inside. But for him, he doesn't have anything inside of him. He doesn't have any energy, doesn't have any motivation, doesn't have any emotion, he doesn't have any passion left with what he's doing. Because what he's passionate about was making other people laugh. What he's passionate about is seeing smiling faces. But in reality, as he starts to work in this factory, what happens, right? He doesn't actually. And what happens next is really, really interesting. So he's going through this thing, and he's talking about how he's got like the saddest life ever, and it's just the worst, right, basically. Makes this funny sound. And he's got some of his workers standing outside of his door trying to help him. And these workers, they want the factory to be successful just like he does. And one of the workers kind of snickers at this sound that he makes and this joke he makes to Pinky. And this whole time, like, Pinky had been trying to make him laugh, trying to make him smile, giving him all the jokes that she had. She couldn't do anything for him. But he sees this guy smile at one of the jokes that he says on just off the cuff. And he sees that and he says, what? He realizes that he can make other people happy. And what happens next is so powerful, so huge. And so let's jump right into that.
So you're saying it's a mix-up of the sounds that I just made that coaxed the snicker from your throat in a delicate cascade? If I did it one more time, if I reproduced that feat, mixed up some letters here and there, you'd lily-bath too sweet. Then that's all I need to do, that's who I need to be. I thought I needed laughter, but it has to come from me. Squirting flowers and knobby knees, rubber chicken's my expertise. If you want laughter, then stick with cheese. I suppose now I should amp things up to get the thing I'm after. Move whole syllables around and change them passes to get laughter. Hands up, now I'm on a roll, I've almost got it back. Bright folks like you aren't subject to my play on words attack. With something else I'll have to play to get me where I'm going.
What you gonna do?
Some commedia dell'arte to get the laughter flowing. And it's what I need to do, it's who I need to be. I thought I needed laughter, but it has to come from me. Follow right behind if you please. Walk this way and I guarantee, if you want laughter, then stick with cheese. Accordion solo!
Shredded cheese!
What? And it's what I need to do, it's who I need to be. I thought I needed laughter, but it has to come from me. Whoopee cushions and dungarees, I know jokes like my ABCs. If you want laughter, then stick with cheese. And now my biggest test, the hardest fish to fry. A mind so analytical, a sense of humor dry.
So dry.
To make you laugh would prove to me that this experiment's done. Something ridiculous and not too smart, something like a pun. Hey, Sans, how did the laughing bird's eggs hatch?
How cool is that? He realizes that, like, he's been working, he's been pushing, he's been, like, going to his limit, he's been scaling and growing and trying to have the most success possible in his life, but he's been going about it the wrong way. He's been trying to screw in, he's been trying to screw in a Phillips head screw in his life to create his happiness, but he's using a freaking torque wrench to do it with his factory. Because what he realizes is that his joy and his happiness comes from seeing people directly influenced by his work, comes from seeing them smile. And he's not going to get fulfillment working in a factory. He's not going to get fulfillment leading a factory. It just isn't his thing in any regards, in any aspect. And as big as it gets, as much money as he makes, he'll never actually have true happiness or fulfillment because that comes from people. It comes from the relationships and the connections that he forms. And so he realizes this, and he realizes that he must walk away from this factory. And at the time, remember, Pinky's trying to figure out what to do with her life, right? And he asked Pinky, he's super happy now. He's smiling. He's having the best time ever. And he says, hey, do you want to come and lead this factory? And she says, wow, this could be my thing. This could be it for me. Because she feels the exact same way the cheese sandwich feels. She understands that her and cheese are basically the same. They have the same motives, the same understandings. Because so many people, you've got people in the same career field as you. They're basically doing the same thing. And she realizes that she also gets all of her fulfillment from working with people, being directly in front of people. And she realizes that she'll be happy with the rest of her life if all she could do is throw parties for people for the rest of her life. Because that's her passion, that's her talent, and that's really her unique ability. And that's what she absolutely crushes it with. And so she no longer feels like, she has to do something special. She has to open up this giant factory, have this big thing to leave behind. Because in reality, the fulfillment and the happiness she gets in her life, she already has it. And all she has to do is look right in front of herself and look at what she's actually doing and be fulfilled, be happy, and just enjoy it instead of trying to look for, something else. Because, so often, there's definitely more. There's definitely growth potential in a lot of opportunities, a lot of careers. But sometimes it might just be what you're doing that you love so much. Like, that's the core, that's the foundation. Like, I love trading stocks. It's like the most fun thing ever. And so, if I ever had to, walk away from that and, run, giant hedge funds or giant companies and wasn't able to, actually invest, I would feel the same way he felt, right? You would feel distraught. You feel torn away from your core. You feel torn away from your passion. And so it's important to always stick with what you're passionate about. And what you're passionate about can totally change. But most of the time, you find a thing that you love, and you love it for the rest of your life. And that's exactly what happened with Pinky. That's exactly what happened with Cheese Sandwich. And he was totally out of his zone when he wasn't doing what his unique ability was. So you have to stick with that one core thing that you love and then delegate out the rest to other people. In this situation, what he does is he basically hands the factory over to the manager, and the manager runs it, and he just makes a bunch of money without actually doing anything, because he didn't ever do anything in the first place. And he gets to go out and travel and enjoy his life and do what he's really passionate about, which is throwing giant parties for other people. So really cool lesson there. Really awesome foundational principle about fulfillment and just searching for happiness in your life, and then finding that happiness and just doing the same thing that makes you happy over and over again, which is so huge, so massive. So many people, they have just a condensed period of happiness in a very, if this is their entire life, they'll have a small little part of their life, and it might be spread out, it might not be spread out, maybe it's right here, maybe it's right here, but they'll have this teeny little fraction of their life where they're actually genuinely happy, and then the rest of it, they're just sad, and they're like, oh, I guess that's how life is, I guess it's gonna suck, guess it's gotta suck. But in reality, all you have to do is shift your paradigm, shift your motive, shift your action, shift your thinking, and shift your being, and just do the same thing here, over here. Mimic and replicate what freaking works, and have that happiness in all of your life. So many people are going day to day satisfied with being sad, satisfied with being in pain, being in suffering. And all you have to do is take that step, make that leap, and say, you know what, I'm going to wake up every single morning, and I don't care what's going on, every single day. You ask someone how their day is, and they say, or a great day. You ask someone how their day is, and they say, oh, it's a bad day, oh, it's a good day, oh, it's okay. What can you tell? You can understand that they're not feeling happy, they're not feeling excited. And what's interesting is in society, so many people think that it's okay that you're having a bad day. That's normal, that's okay. Because people are used to negativity. People are used to normality. They're used to being average. And so what you want to do is you want to step away from that, right? Be obsessed or be average. You want to be obsessed, you want to be extremely happy. And every single day you want to wake up happy, no matter what happens. And say, today's going to be the freaking best day ever. Every single day in my journal, I write, today's the best day ever. And it changes your whole mindset, changes your whole paradigm, changes your whole, because now you're happy by default, right? You don't have to have a reason to be happy. You just want to be a happy person. And the way you do that is just by saying to yourself every day, this is going to be the freaking best day ever. Thank you so much. And that's a game changer. All right, awesome. Okay, 2, 4, great. Oh, this one's so fun. Okay, so there's, you got Buckball, right? Buckball, that's the thing. And basically, these guys are cheerleaders for the Buckball team. They're not, well, some, but whatever. So you've got, Buckball, right? And you got the Buckball team, and everyone's just, they got their hoops, and they're just doing their thing, having a great time. And then over here on the side, you've got, it's cool because, there's Yona, and there's Yona, Ocellus and Smolder, and they're having a great time with these 2 other ones. And they're like, oh, we're gonna be the cheerleaders, we're gonna be the best ever, woohoo! The only problem is they don't really like actually know how to cheerlead, so they do the best thing you can do. They do the best thing possible by going out and saying, who can we learn from? Who can teach us? Who can be our coach? And they asked Twilight, hey, can you get us a coach so that we can be really great cheerleaders? Whatever, right? So she goes out and she finds Rainbow Dash. Okay, so you got Rainbow Dash over here. And Rainbow Dash is like huge, super, super pumped about sports. Like Buckball, she's like super happy about it, super excited. She's like, oh, I get to teach Buckball. We're going to play Buckball's going to be the coolest thing ever, right? You play sports, whatever, right? And she's like super pumped about it, super excited, super happy, super passionate. Like that's what she loves. And then she gets here after, school one day. And this is all, with the school, right? School friendship. And Twilight says, hey, you're going to be teaching the cheerleaders. You're going to be coaching the cheerleaders. And she's like, what? For her, like, that's so boring. That's so dumb. Like, who cares? I want to play sport. Like, she wants to play sports, right? And she's like, I'm going to teach cheerleaders? What? Because to her, like, that's not her passion. That's not what makes her excited. It's not what makes her happy. It's not what pumps her up. But for these guys, it's like the best thing ever, right? Like, these guys love it. And more importantly, they absolutely adore Rainbow Dash. And they would 100% love to be taught by her, be the best thing ever for them. It would just be awesome. So they go to like the first day of practice, and everyone here is in the gym, right? They're in the gym, they're ready to practice, they want to learn, they want to get better. And the 2 that have like actually done this before are like really good, which is cool. But like no one else really like has any clue what to do. And Rainbow comes in, she walks in. And, Twilight leaves, and she's like, all right, cool, have fun. And everyone else here is gone. It's just, playing, practicing, whatever. You guys are going to be cheerleaders. And they're like, woo! And she's like, that's super cool. I don't really care about cheerleading. And she spends the first, 15 minutes of practice looking out the window at what the Buckball, like, just at people playing the sport, right? Like, actually, doing sports. And she's like, yeah, have fun dancing, guys. She puts on some music. She doesn't do anything to help them. Doesn't do anything to guide them. Doesn't do anything to lead them. Doesn't do anything to teach them. And this whole practice, the whole thing goes by. And literally they're just standing. They have no clue what to do. They have no guidance. They have no responsibility. They have no technique. They have nothing to follow. They have no guide. Because in reality, all they can do is what they know. All they can do is what they understand. And, 2 of them are pretty solid at it. But the other 3, they have no freaking clue. And they just end up knocking each other over, bunching around each other, pushing, just accidentally just shoving. It's not a good. It's a bad situation, right? It's a challenge. And on their own, they have no clue what to do. They have no way to overcome it. They don't really understand anything about cheerleading. That's why they joined, and they thought they'd have a coach. But Rainbow Dash doesn't see the same passion. She doesn't have the same empathy. She doesn't have any kind of happiness whatsoever from this experience, from this cheerleading, right? And she's so distraught because she doesn't want to do this. She would rather be somewhere else, doing something else, playing sports, than be here. And it shows in her actions, it shows in her work, it shows in what she does, because she doesn't give any attention to the other people. She doesn't give any attention to what they care about, what they're passionate about, what they like to do. And after the first practice goes like this, then the second practice goes like this, then the third practice goes like this, and then they all come over to the field for the halftime show for one of the local games because they're getting ready for this big national game that the team is going to play in states when they're going to face off for the championship of the whole world because the whole world's kind of small. And as the halftime show, they have this giant, huge mess. And everything, they all fall over. There's this giant mess all over the place. And Rainbow Dash is standing there in the crowd, and she's just laughing her head off. She's enjoying the game, having the best time of her life because she's going to watch people play sports, which she loves. But her team and the people that she's responsible for and her group are doing awful. But she didn't put any energy, didn't put any focus, didn't put any effort into them. Instead, she just took away value, took away energy, and made these guys feel awful at themselves. They're not happy anymore. They feel terrible. And after they fail, they feel like failures, which is awful. And they say, look, we don't want to do this anymore. We want to quit. We don't want to be cheerleaders. This is awful. This is boring. And everyone gets pissed off at Rainbow Dash, right? The main six, like, what the heck? You got to teach these guys how to do it. And she says she doesn't want to. And then Twilight tells her something that is a game changer, a total mind shift. She says that she has to teach it to them, not for her own sake, not for her own pleasure, not for her own being, but she has to take on the temporary pain of teaching this to them. As a group, they all bond together, they will collectively grow, and they will collectively achieve more and be more with quality relationships and development as a team. And in the long term, there'll be so much success on behalf of the team that the sacrifice that she makes for herself will be completely nominal. And she tells her that it's not a fun thing to do, but it's her duty to help these, to serve these individuals and help them be the best that they can be and have the most impact that they can have. And she realizes that she needs to take a step back, look at it objectively, and think about how she can serve more, how she can help more, rather than focusing on herself. And how she can take this temporary pain of having to go through learning how to dance, teaching them how to dance, as a source of authority, as a figure that they respect, right? And actually help them learn something that maybe she's not passionate about, but it's something that the whole group will have better success for. And it teaches this principle. It is so key, so crucial. It teaches them how to do it, and basically they learn over the course of a couple of days, and they all work together. They work really, really, really hard, and they do an amazing, amazing job. They put on an awesome, awesome show. Everyone has huge amounts of success, and they go to the nationals, and they crush it. They do amazing. They have a phenomenal time, and they really enjoy each other, and they make an amazing, amazing performance and an amazing, amazing team because of focus, right? They all focus, and they all put their energy towards becoming better cheerleaders. And they absolutely crush it in the end because she was able to sacrifice herself for the betterment of the team. She was able to go there and coach and help them actually do it and lead the group and lead the team. And she realizes that it's so much more important, so much more crucial to actually have a huge impact on others in the long term. And give your focus to others, give your energy to others, give everything you have to the group and the mastermind and the collective, than it is to focus on individual gain. Like if you're in a big group, if you're in a big mastermind, if you're in any kind of social group, like you've got to focus on building up those relationship assets and adding tons of value to other people's lives. And in reality, sometimes you might have to do things that you're not a huge fan of. But in the long run, it's going to fundamentally shift and totally change the connections that you have, the connections that others have, the way they feel about you, and most significantly, the level of output that you have. So it's so critical, so crucial, so foundational that you put in the energy, you put in the time, put in the effort to help others have their success, even if it's maybe not an area you're particularly passionate about, even if it's maybe not an area that you're particularly skilled at, it's an area that will have the biggest impact on others. And that's exactly what she does here, and it works out phenomenally. But she's able to sacrifice her own desires, her own wants, in favor of the development and of the success of the collective group, which is huge. So really massive principle there. Just so powerful. And I hope you guys get a ton of value from that, because that's a big one. It's one that it took me a long time to understand, but like once you understand it, you realize that like the more pain you're experiencing or the more boredom or whatever, in reality what you're doing is you're creating a better future. You're creating more success, more abundance, more fulfillment, more happiness, more of what you want in the future by doing what other people want right now, because people will reciprocate. Rainbow Dash will get a chance to go and coach, the sports teams if she takes on this task and does it right. And that's exactly what happens here. And in the long term, like it's going to come back to her tenfold. So definitely make sure you're always giving your all to those relationships and to others, and it's going to lead to that big payoff, that mass level success.